and a member of the National Shop Stewards Network Anti-Cuts National Steering Committee. And a bit like Matilda Issue Anton Beck, I have a partner in crime, Glenn Kelly, well known to many as a former member of Nielsen National Executive, sorely missed in that position, will also be jointly hosting the next few minutes with me as we bring this afternoon's rally, march and lobby to a bit of a close. I think I've got to introduce to you the second one or two speakers, and also the Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, Francis O'Grady, who's going to accept the petition and the letter which I'll briefly read out from the NSSN on the eve of the 2011 TUC Congress. But whilst I'm just waiting for that information, just let me stress the central reason why we're here today. And from the 12 or 14 speeches which we had in Houston in Friends Meeting House, from General Secretaries such as Bob Crow and Max Swapka, through the rank and file workers from Bombardier and Honda in Swindon, a united message that the rank and file of the trade union movement in Britain want to see the same united, coordinated leadership at the top of the trade union movement. That if we're told by the bosses and their parties that we're in the worst economic mess for generations, then we need a leadership to match up to that economic mess, at the same to the bosses and their parties, an unequivocal message on pensions, on and on services. We did not cause this crisis. The bankers 2 or 3 years ago, with their gambling and speculation, brought this economy to its knees. We demand that working class people and their families are not made to pay the price of that crisis, but those whose gambling caused the crisis, the bankers and their system. As I said, we've got a couple of speakers. I think the first now is ready to address us. It's for now from the PCS at Camberwell Job Centre, and he's going to tell you about a local campaign to save that job centre.
From PCS Lamberton Suburb, as well as the Young Members Network. Recently it was announced that they're going to be trying to close Camberwell Job Centre. The reason they said it is because of costs, and also the customers said they can move to Peckham or Brixton. Now, that's a harrowing example of how the government don't care about the poor people, because first it's going to affect the young people in Camberwell, but because we've got 1 in 5 young people are unemployed, and also you've got 40 people, for every one job 40 people are chasing for it, so you're not going to get the support, all the services when you're pushed into overcrowded job centres. As well as that, Camberwell, Brixton and Peckham all have a big problem with gang culture and postcode wars. So pushing these customers over to those job centres mean that they're going to end up getting violence, and it could end up with fatalities. You ended up with homeless people are going to be moved out of those areas. We've got St Giles Trust, which gives support and counselling and training, as well as addresses that so the homeless people can claim benefits. They're going to be moved out, and as well as that, you've got the Maudsley Hospital, where you've got the carers and the families of these people that sign on in Camberwell because it's close by. So now they're going to have to try and juggle, going to their families' appointments to get to their job centre to sign on. Now, we need your support. We desperately need that support from the whole trade union movement. So please come and sign our petition, and as well as that, come to our meeting. We're having it on Tuesday the 13th. Harriet Harman's going to be speaking at it, and many more. Thanks a lot.
Comrades, we've come here today with one clear purpose and intention, and I'm pleased to see the member from the TUC General Council about to address us. But as a local government worker and workers organiser, I've spent the last 9 months engaged, as many of others have, in a war against public services, where the old and the young are seen as expendable in the council cuts. But we've a message to demand from the TUC that this week declare war on this government and announce the call for a public sector-wide strike in defence of our pensions. Our members are desperately crying out for a lead. They quite clearly are saying to us, if we're being all attacked together, then we should strike together. And I want to hear from Francis that the very cost of our trade union, that we will end being picked off one by one in workplace against workplace. And we will stand and use the weight of the trade union members, of the 5 million of us in the public sector. And this autumn, we will send a message to this government that we are attending and fighting until we win. Thanks very much, folks.
Thanks very much. Right, just before I introduce the Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, has kindly agreed to accept this petition and letter. I just want to read out to you the letter that the National Shop Stewards Network is presenting today to the TUC General Council, together with a petition that represents tens and hundreds of workplaces up and down the country. I phrase it like that because I haven't actually counted the number I'm going to give her before we give the petition over. We'll put that on the website later on. The letter which we're giving here this afternoon is, dear brothers and sisters, to the TUC General Council and to conference delegates. Since the time of the TUC in Manchester last September, there has been no letter in the torrent of austerity cuts pushed through by the Condemned government. This is reflected in your Congress agenda. The marvellous demonstration in March which showed clearly that once a lead is given, thousands upon thousands of workers respond. The coordinated strikes of teachers and civil servants in June brought 750,000 out in protest to stop the pensions robbery. It's now time to step up the tempo. We must warn the Tories and Liberal Democrats through action that we will not meekly accept our livelihoods being eroded year on year until nothing is left for the next generation, while the banks and big business plunder the economy for their own greed. We call upon the General Council and Congress delegates to ensure in their discussions and deliberations next week that the next round of strikes in the autumn are joined by 3 to 4 million public sector trade union members who have not yet taken action in a powerful one-day public sector strike. The National Shop Stewards Network have organised this rally and demonstration today, bringing together hundreds of reps and stewards in the daily struggle for jobs and services who will do everything necessary to ensure full support for mass coordinated action. Don't hesitate. Take the fight of the millions of workers of TUC to the bosses. All out together in November. And that's signed on behalf of all of us by Rob Williams, NSSN Chair.
Keep your hands up!
Oh, look at these guys.
Right, after that short interlude, can I now, and a little more graciously perhaps, introduce to you the Deputy General Secretary of the TUC, Francis O'Grady, has kindly agreed to accept Rob's letter on behalf of all of you and the petition I mentioned earlier. Please give a warm welcome to Francis O'Grady.
Thanks very much, Dave. Very pleased on behalf of the TUC General Council to accept your letter, accept the petition. Also pleased to thank every single one of you who is a workplace shop steward here today for the work that you do, day in, day out, giving a voice to workers, representing workers, and most important of all, now more than ever, organising workers. This is the TUC Parliament, this is your Parliament, our Parliament. It'll be discussing, debating, hammering out our strategy, our fight back against these unprecedented us these unprecedented attacks on working people. But I just want to finish by saying to each and every one of you, it is more important now than ever. We stay strong, we stay solid, we stay united. Thank you. General Strike!
Particularly those of you who've travelled some distance to be here, can I just echo a couple of points in finishing that have been made today, not least made by Francis in accepting our letter and our petition, and you should not underestimate the significance of the Deputy General Secretary of the TUC on this platform accepting an official letter and petition from the National Shop Stewards Network to the TUC General Parliament taking place this week. She was absolutely right. We want to see this condemned government defeated. There are going to be other demonstrations over the next 3 weeks in Birmingham and in Manchester against the political parties that are running the coalition government, against the Lib Dems in Birmingham and against the Tories in Manchester. We will rage on those streets, but rage is not enough to shift this government off the bosses of its strategy of making us and our families pay for the crisis of their system. We need a strategy of ours, of our movement, of the trade unions, being prepared to step up from March the 26th when 500,000 were on the streets of London, and the Tories didn't listen. To June the 30th, when 750,000 public sector workers, particularly PCS and the Teachers Union NUT, demanded protection of pensions, and as yet the Tories didn't listen. Well, if they won't listen to hundreds of thousands, they will listen when millions of workers in November, early part of that month, from Unison, from Unite, from the GMB, from the PCS, from the RMT, from the FBU, from Prospect, from the FBA, from UCAT, and all those other unions who've spoken or taken part at a rank and file and leadership level in today's demonstration, push up the pressure to organise a one-day public sector general strike in November as a warning to the Tories that either back down, preserve our wages, jobs, services and pensions, or this movement will consign them to the dustbin of history. Thanks for coming, and a shake early home.